If you hold down insert in BeamNG, it will actually rewind your car and its beam state, similar to how it works in Forza Horizon games. That is one of 12 underrated features in BeamNG. Next up, I feel replays are criminally underrated, as no one ever talks about them. But how many game developers give us a full working way to record the exact interactions our car experiences, and then tying it into point 3 allows us to make effortless cinematic scenes, like most games either require a mod or are overly complicated, whereas BeamNG's version already does all the heavy lifting for you. And that is why I personally believe BeamNG is genuinely one of the best games to make content on, and easiest. This one is huge. One of the biggest complaints I feel games get, and things I also hate in a lot of games, is the UI. Sometimes it's just clanky, too much covering the screen. Sometimes you can't hide it, for whatever reason. And sometimes the UI just doesn't show what you want. That's why I think we should all take a second to thank the devs for allowing us to completely customize the UI, adding, removing, resizing, you name it, you can do it. Not only that, but you can create different presets for different occasions. I personally wish this would become the industry standard for UI, and as a little bonus, you can quickly hide it by pressing Alt-U. We all know the very dodgy sites riddled with viruses that are designed to look like safe mod sites, Modland. However, not only does BeamNG combat this with their own moderated repository, however, you can even subscribe to and unsubscribe from mods inside the game, which is something a few games do, but not enough, as it allows the users to ensure they are installing the safest mods. Speaking of subscribing to mods, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to me too. I briefly mentioned hiding the UI earlier, but if there was only a way that we could adjust background blur, add camera filters, adjust time of day and sun position to get the perfect screenshots, that would make creating thumbnails so much easier and result in anyone being able to get A+ photos. Wait a minute, BeamNG already has all these amazing features that I wish some other games had, because it makes content so much easier. We should normalise adding photo modes to games. I think this next one is widely unknown, or at least unused, and that's the decal editor. Like career mode, it's in very early access, often not allowing you to apply decals on certain vehicles or body panels, and the images and options are quite limited, although you can upload your own images, but in my experience, this does not work much, if at all. Honourable mention, if you enjoy moderately funny in real life automotive content like this. So we're going to test the opposite of that by seeing how well it dampens inside noise. Once you get used to the feeling of a knob in your hands, especially an Audi knob, and this, so instead we thought, metal expands under heat. So we bought a lighter. I can smell burning plastic and all the cancer entering my lungs. That's a good sign. Oh, dungleberries! People sat in that car. You might like my new channel, Motion Theory. It's linked in the description and at the end of the video. This next one I know will be very helpful for many of you if you don't have any friends, and that is the Script AI Manager. Basically, it allows you to record the path of a vehicle that you drive, similar to a replay, but you can do several vehicles and also drive yourself, allowing you to simulate driving with your friends. Now, the feature that ties all of these features together, World Editor. Without it, pretty much everything I before mentioned would be impossible. I truly believe that it is the underrated king of BeamNG. Not only does it help with content, but it helps people who just want to do random stuff, as well as being insanely useful for mappers, having a whole host of features for map makers. Not that I know a whole lot about it, but Skyfall has told me how useful it is. The next one I love looking at is my stats menu. Once again, a heavily underrated feature, allowing you to see exactly how long you spend on each map, driving what car, or even random facts that I find very interesting to look through every once in a while. Let me know in the comments, what's your most played map? Mine's West Coast USA at over 1 day. I don't know if this one counts as a feature in this video, since it is technically a keybind. However, if you press Ctrl-Shift-I, you activate auto driving, just like autopilot in an aeroplane. Handy if you're wanting to sit back as your chauffeur drives you around. And I'll tell you what, because I'm nice, here are some additional keybinds. Ctrl-Shift-T to enable traffic, Ctrl-Shift-D to change the time of day, or finally, if you want some chaos, Ctrl-Shift-H will deflate a random tire. Being able to save and load beam state is also an incredibly useful feature, especially if I'm role-playing around and want to save the damage on my car for whatever reason. I can, and then I can come back to it at any time. Only downside is that it does cause all your latches to break, opening all of your doors. There is quite a few weird glitches like this in BeamNG, so let me know if you want an entire dedicated video on it. Anyways, thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. Here is the promised motion theory video.